Hey, and welcome to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and in this tutorial we're going to be starting doing some layout. So we have done some layout before, but it's mostly match, move, and rotating. So in this series we're going to be some more creative layout. So we're going to be building our sets from reference and sort of getting a really good sort of basic layout of what we want to do CG wise. And this really does help sort of decide how many assets you need in a shot, what the sort of workload is going to be, what you need to take out of the shot, what you need to add, and it really gives a good broad spectrum of what's needed to complete the full shot. So this one is going to be a creative sort of layout, and we'll probably do some technical layout near the end or somewhere through it, depends where we really need it. But it's mostly going to be creative sort of layout. And the project that we're going to be using is the Sith project that I made previously. So it's the one with in the quarry, and actually surprisingly they're actually filming Star Wars there now. So it'd be kind of good fun for you to sort of work with not similar footage, but it's the same place, so you can have some fun with it and see where your creativity goes. I say you don't have to copy what I do. You can make your own sort of ideas up, but this is kind of just showing the pretty, in the most simplest way, how it sort of works. And we're just going to be doing some layout from some really basic reference that I've made. Now, when I say basic, it's really basic. It's not very good, but I'll explain for it. But yeah, so we're going to start doing some layout and stuff. So I hope you guys have been enjoying these tutorials. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really does help. And yeah, let's get going. So I've opened up Maya. And like I say, you don't have to be using Maya. You could be using anything, but Maya's a good go-to for most VFX stuff. It's pretty much the foundation of most pipelines and companies. It's good to know, but you don't have to use it. Cool. So I mentioned before that we had some basic ref, and before loading anything in, we've got the Sith project that we're going to use. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some really awful reference first. Cool. So you can see my awful reference, and this is the shots that we're going to be doing. And obviously, if you're doing your own, you're probably looking at this and you're like, I don't even know what this is. So I made this Sith project a while back, and it was basically to make a little rebel base or any sort of base you want, because the cave area was pretty useful, good for making a sort of set of doors, and it was a nice area, and it seemed to fit quite well for like something Star Warsy. So I decided to do a little project there. So if you're doing your own stuff, you might want to concept it a little bit better. I didn't want to spend ages and ages and doing concepting really, because I can show you this and you'll get the idea, and you can work off the roughest stuff. This is really, I've seen way worse. Sometimes you have to work from just sketches or someone's drawn something on a clacker board or something, which has happened a few times. But so we've got this sort of shot. This is establishing shot, and it's like a Star Wars themed one. So you've got this big sort of, if you hadn't told, this big. It's not a bit of old cheese or a grey cheese wedge. It's supposed to be a Star Destroyer. So we're doing a sort of Star Wars theme, so a Star Destroyer. Then you've got this little shuttle flying down, and undecided on what type of shuttle it is. And we've got this sort of base here. Could be a rebel base, could be an empire base, could be anything really. It's entirely down to you. You can copy what I'm doing, or you can design your own. It makes no difference. It's obviously you might want to spend more time sort of concepting it, because what we're going to do, we're going to build the sort of layout from this. It's almost going to be slightly like previs, but it's very similar, but we're going to sort of build things and sort of organize it in a way that we know what we need to build. So we've got our Star Destroyer or spaceship, doesn't have to be that, and our shuttle coming down to this base. We've got these big doors, some sort of sensors up here or antennas, a satellite dish with some cables going down, cables going around, some general set dressing stuff around here, some more cables and set dressing. I wasn't too, like I say, this is a pretty awful sort of reference, but you get the idea, and you can spend way more time on this if you want, and you'll probably get a better result, to be honest. Cool, so that's the first shot. Then we've got my other amazing shot of the spaceship has landed on this sort of ramp. Well, the ramp of the spaceship is here, and here's our Dark Lord walking down it. So we've got the idea. So we've got a spaceship here, and this is all going to be sort of painted out and stuff like that. Then some sort of buildings, towers in the background. And I know this is super rough, but it gives you it gives you better context than showing the plates. Obviously, this is an awful spaceship, but you can design your own, and you can sort of see that idea of what this ramp was for. Then we got this last shot, which is the spaceship here and the ramp that they're walking down, and it sort of pans across. And you got some more set dressing here, some of the previous stuff, and this will explain why we use geometry for match moving, because we're only going to do this layout for one area. We're not going to do it multiple times. It's going to be done to the scan, and that's it. We're not going to change it around, so all the cameras have to work to it, and that's why we do a layout, and that's why we have a set scan or LiDAR. So I know these are pretty. I honestly did these really quick. I don't want to spend loads of time on them because it's. Yeah, I probably could have made it better, if honestly, but it's just to show you can actually just go off the most basic stuff to get the idea. And I don't want you to have to copy me, but it's all up to you what you want to do. Cool, so I'm just going to drag these really awful drawings off to the side. Cool, so I've got my Maya open, and I'm just going to load in all the data that we have. So you've got the SIF package, so I'm just going to go File, Import. So we've got the SIF light, because we're going to do 3 shots, but you can get the whole package. I'm just going to bring in the SIF scan set decimated. And here we are, and you should now see that we've got this quite nice scan. So let's just change my clipping plane, because this is at 1:1 scale, so it's going to be quite large. Cool. And you can see we've got the areas of our reference. So if we look here, we can see we've got this bit here. Oh, I can't grab it. Why is it not letting me grab it? I should probably use PureRef, to be honest. And yeah. So we can see where we're going, and we've got this sort of cave entrance. So the next thing I'll do, I'm just going to assign a new material. Just going to put a Lambert on it. There you go, color, file. Then I'm just going to select the file that comes with it. So in the data, set scan, the decimated diff. So nothing will show yet, so you have to go to shading, hardware texturing. And now you can see that we've got the texture on it. So it's going to make it a lot easier for us to sort of plan our sort of layout. And we can almost go flat shade all, so it removes the sort of shadows from it, and we can have a little look around and we can sort of see how we're going to build our base. And we can see here, this is where the spaceship ramp's going to be, and this is a large resolution image, so we can actually boost this up. I'm just going to max it out to 8192. Cool. So the next thing that we want to do is, so part of layout is also doing match move and stuff like that, but this is going to be a creative sort of, this is the creative side of it. So in theory, we've already sort of done the match move cameras, so I'm just going to import those in as well. So we've got the shot 1, and I'm just going to delete this. You might not have this. Just going to click and drag this in, and I need to change my timeline as well. Cool. So we've got our first camera in. So we'll just call this scene S10, which is the opening scene. And we can select our camera, and I'm just going to go to image plane and import image. So at the moment, all we're doing is loading in the stuff that we would probably done from our first, because we have actually done quite a bit of layout. You just haven't realised. It's not been labelled as layout. So layout also comes under creating all the set geo as well. So we're just doing the more the creative side. Under stored plate. Image sequence. Let's change our alpha gate to 0.7. 1. Let's maybe change it to rec 709, so it's not so because this is just in a linear color space, so it's not going to have a particularly great grade on it, but we can stick it in rec 709 just to view it, or just let's actually just leave it in sRGB. It'll just look a little bit washed out, but it's fine. It looks like we could possibly have double image planes. Cool. You won't have that, so it's fine. Cool, so we've got our set scan and our camera in. And we've got our reference. Do you know what? No, it actually should be right. I should have used pure ref, to be honest. And pretty much what we're going to do, we're going to just start blocking it out in absolute basic form. So probably what I'm going to start with is these doors. So I'm just going to get to my perspective. Turn off my wireframe. Just going to put this in a layer so I don't move it or break it. Just call it set. Cool. So we know we need to make some doors there. So let's do the incredibly basic sort of door for it. So we're just going to block it out. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy at the moment. This is just to give you a good idea of what we need to do. So this is not going to be a modeling tutorial. We're just going to sort of go through it and see what we need. And it'll be good fun as well because they're actually filming Star Wars here now, which is, well, not right now, but I think they filmed it for a certain TV series, which should be quite cool. So this also really helps with sort of understanding the placement of your doors. You can see I'm not going to a huge amount of detail. I just want to block it out. And obviously we've got that main pillar bit there, which is this is the sort of stuff you start to discover in your layout. And stuff that you need to get rid of and paint out. Cool. So we're just blocking it out. We're not doing anything crazy. Cool. So what we can do is let's hide this. Now we've got our set of doors. Well, our sort of door frame. So I'm just going to Control E to extrude that. Nope. Scale it, sorry. And I'm just doing some really, really basic modeling. Door. Too many O's. So I've got to try and make this not a hugely long tutorial, because I know that some of my tutorials are quite long, but you don't have to do this one that I'm doing. You can just pretty much create something completely bespoke if you want. Yeah, it's entirely up to you, really. So, but that's why I made the quick reference. I don't necessarily want you to have to copy what I'm doing, but it's if you want to do it, it's fine. This whole sequence was designed to do something Star Warsy, so I'd actually be interested if someone actually did do something different or something like that, but it's entirely up to you. So I am actually just going to go to my constraint and orientate that, because I probably could have just copied the transforms down, but cool. So this is going to be effectively our door. And one of the other things is kind of got to figure out how that mechanism would work as well. We can sort of add some detail to this so it's just not a just a block. But like I say, this is just a must have a funny reset tool. Cool. So I'm just really roughing out a very, very basic door. And you can pretty much do whatever you want. Just so it looks nice. And this is all part of the creative layout side, so you'll get, obviously you'll get better reference for sure than what I've probably given, but sometimes you'll actually get worse. So I guess the other annoying thing is because obviously we're working to a set, it's going to be slightly funky angles, so it doesn't have to be perfect, just has to get the point across and get the ideas. So don't worry if it's not absolutely amazing. You can do your own sort of door designs. I am literally making this up as I go along. I had no sort of plan for this, so apart from just making a door. I'm just going to make a really rough one. Cool. It's a pretty awful door, but yeah. So I'm just gonna And the thing is, it's the whole sort of planning of it. It's not. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly how this is. We can, once the door's done, we can concept it. This is not part of the concept. It's we're just doing a first pass layout. Then we'll sort of. This is almost a bit like previs, the first pass, so don't worry too much about that. Just gonna. Bevel those as well. Kind of looks like a little heater. It does look awful, but it's just. Yeah, so just constrain, orientate that. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm probably going a bit too overboard with this. It's kind of not very good design. I'm just pretty much making it up as I go along. Cool, and that will do. Maybe even, let's just duplicate that down here. Yeah, let's hide that. Was that the right one? Let's just tidy that up. Just going to switch to X-ray and just pull these. Don't worry if the modeling's not fantastic. This is not a modelling task. This is just to see where we can get it going. I'm not sure what's happened there, but it doesn't matter. And this is our awful door. And I'm just going to combine that all. And just delete all the history. I'll just call that frame. And this is the actual hangar door. Cool. So it's pretty rough. It's nothing amazing. And what we can also do is pretty nasty on that side. So, but the whole idea of this is we can sort of, and your sort of the way your door might open might be different. I'm planning to have mine open as a sort of a little bit. Ooh, not like that. My thing's broken. Why is that? Alright, let's unhide our set and see what it looks like. was supposed to be like that. So this is what it's all about, sort of just refining your... And it doesn't matter if we do crude stuff. Because when we actually build the asset, we'll be much more careful with our sort of orientation. Cool. So let's now go to our camera. And we can't really see much. So what we want to do, let's duplicate this. Let's duplicate that. We'll just remove selected objects and we'll call this set trim, because we're probably going to chop some bits out of this. Cool. So stuff like this we don't want. And it doesn't matter so much. All we just got to worry about is that it's not getting in the way of how we sort of see stuff. Cool. Let's go to our panels perspective. Just going to change my alpha gain to 1. My depth to 100,000. Cool. So I'm just also going to assign a new material. Use background. And we can sort of see very roughly how our sort of door is going to end up. Like I say, this is still just very basic sort of layout blocking. It gives us a good idea of how things are going to look. So we've got a door there, and we can sort of play around with this throughout the entire time. Cool. So we turn our anti-aliasing on so we can actually see it. Cool, so we've just got something really basic with here. This is 30 minutes. This is taking quite a long time to talk through it. So that's kind of the idea of what we're going to do. We're going to continue doing that as well. And the reason why we sort of do the layout as well, because it gives you a list of all assets that you need to build. We always knew that we need to build a doorway for this. So we need to put on the list of what's to go on. So we actually need to design a doorway and also need to really think how it's going to work. And this sort of this is almost, imagine this like a shopping list of assets that you need, but it also helps with sort of seeing how things are going to go. So yeah, we can even, now let's not bother putting lights in there. This has already taken half an hour to get to this point. and we'll continue doing this. I think I'll do it in separate pieces. I don't want them to go longer than half an hour, I think, because it's just too much. It's quite difficult, but yeah, you can have all this stuff to download, and yeah, we're just going to do a piece at a time, because if I do this whole layout, this could take a long time, and I'm already at half an hour. So yeah, we're going to continue on with this, trying to do the layout for it as much as possible. I hope you can make a better doorway than I have. Mine was awful, but now I know that I need to design a doorway, or try and find a type of doorway that will fit. But not only do I know that I need to find that, I also need to know that doing this sort of stuff kind of, it's like I said, it's your shopping list of stuff that needs to happen. So not only does this need to be concepted or put in or made, you also need to have this painted out, because this is all bushes here and it's all going right up. So this has to be cleaned out. I would imagine these rocks as well. So it gives you an idea of tasks that need to be done. So it's a really valuable part of the pipeline. So yeah, we'll continue on. So far we've only done this. I probably should have done a doorway like that. But yeah, maybe I'll go back and I'll redesign it for the next one. Cool, so I hope you've enjoyed that really quick tutorial on just basic layout. We've only done something really simple, but hopefully it'll start to give you an idea of like the creative layout. And once we've done sort of all these prop things and the spaceship, we'll do the sort of layout animation as well. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that. Yeah, and it's always great if you like it and subscribe to my channel. It always helps. So yeah, I'm just literally chatting on now. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.